everyone, this is Michelle from East Ave Art, and today I'm going to take you through the process I took to paint this peony floral in a vase. So I start on my graph paper. I like to use that for sketching. I don't like to sketch directly on my watercolor paper because, as I just demonstrated there, I erase a lot, and I think the graph paper just kind of helps me visualize things a little bit better. So I'll just kind of finish up that vase, and then you'll see I just kind of do like a rough sketch of the floral shapes, just so I can kind of see a little bit of what I'm gonna paint, but that part I don't quite need to sketch out. And there I'm sketching the handle, and yeah, I think this is like a really helpful starting point for me. I like to plan out my art a little bit more carefully. I think that leads to a better product. And then here you can see I have some tracing paper, and I'm tracing over with a pen, and this also allows me to make any perfections I want to make kind of one last time before I color in on the back of this tracing paper with pencil and then transfer it over to my watercolor paper, kind of like you did in elementary school. Okay, now that I have my sketch transferred over, I'm going to wet my paints with the spray bottle. It's just a little bit easier to get the paints mixed up that way. And I'm going to start with a few reds because I think I want sort of a deep kind of color to this peony that I'm gonna paint. So I'm gonna get the base color there. I also like to put in a little bit of white. Some people kind of debate using white in their watercolor. I personally like it because it adds like a pastel-y, creamy feel to it, so I kind of like that. Like some people say you should just use water to lighten things instead of white, but I don't really think I'm lightening. I'm just adding like a little bit of a different kind of tone to my color by adding the white. And you'll see I mixed up a green and a little bit of a peachy yellow. That peachy yellow is going to be like the center stamen of my peony. And once I get that going, I'm going to take a pretty watered down of my red, and I'm just going to start doing some zigzaggy lines, as you see there. Peonies are an interesting flower to paint. I think they're the most beautiful flower in person, and I'm always trying to kind of perfect my approach to peonies, but I try to do like a lot of scribbly lines like you've seen, because there's so many petals, and I'm trying to get that effect of like layers and layers of petals. So my first go, I'm just going to do like kind of a lot of scribbly lines around the stamen, and then as I get further away from the stamen, my shapes will take more of a petal-y shape. So you can see on the outer ring I'm doing more like formed petals like that you would recognize. So now that I've got kind of the shape of the peony down, I'm going to go around and tap in some more kind of thicker paint as I go around the flower, just to sort of, I don't know, I'm trying to like rework the shape a little bit. I'm trying to add some texture. I think having kind of multiple tones of the color also is giving off the effect of multiple layers. of petals. I mean, at least I hope so. This is kind of my intent anyway. And so I kind of tried to keep building as I went. Sometimes I think I overwork the paint a little bit. And I think with this flower, at least when I looked at my final product, I kind of wish I had maybe taken a break in between and maybe worked on another part of the painting so I could have thought about it a little bit more, because I think I made it a little too dark in the final analysis. But so you can see I just kind of kept working on it, trying to get it perfected. I do like how I made the petals have that sort of jaggedy effect, or actually just jagged effect of peony petals. So that is one thing that I liked, but I'm not really sure I liked how the end result of the flower was. And then here I'm starting to work on the peony that hasn't opened yet. So all of the flowers are obviously really, or petals are obviously really compressed here. And so I tried to just start with sort of an ovally shape, and I'm leaving some blank space and then dropping in some paint just to kind of give, I don't know, the effect that there's compressed petals, like that it just hasn't opened yet. So in my mind's eye, I was thinking that you could maybe see a little bit of the stamen popping out. I think I made that maybe a little bit too much. And then I also put a little bit of green in there as well. I'm not sure that I feel like I did this quite right. I think there should have been a little bit less of the yellowy stamen, a little bit more of the peony red. Okay, so this is what I mean a little bit by overworking my peony. Is I kind of think in retrospect the flower looked best in this stage, but I just kind of overworked the paint. I was trying to show so many layers of petals, and it just didn't quite, I think it just ended up looking really overworked, like it got too dark, too many shadows, and it just sort of lost its, I don't know, ethereal form that I think it had before I went in and started adding this really heavy layer of paint. Okay, so once I finished sort of adding those darker shadows to my peony, I went in with my green that I mixed up, and I like to give the leaves this effect that they're sort of falling down over behind the flower, so I kind of like to give a little bit of movement to my leaves. I also left some white space, as you can see, where there'd be like a little bit of a highlight. And I also added a little bit of a darker green, kind of close to the petals, where the petals would be casting a shadow onto the leaf. And of course, to add some balance, I put a leaf on the other side of my peony. And again, I kind of just like to, give it a little bit of shape and movement as I go. And similar to the other leaf, I left a little bit of a highlight by leaving some white space. And I also decided to add another leaf as well on the other side of the big peony. Okay, so again, I couldn't leave well enough alone, and I went back with more darker paint, and I just think it ended up looking a little bit muddied and just, I don't know, too heavy. And then I also wanted to add a little bit, I think, more of a darker pinky purple to my bud up there as well. So I ultimately think I sort of overdid it on the flowers. I sometimes just can't leave well enough alone. I think I want to take another crack at peonies in the region where I live, in upstate New York. They're in full bloom right now, so I like to take walks in the morning this time of year especially, because it's just so beautiful. And I'm just loving to see all of the flowers on my morning walk. It's giving me a lot of inspiration. So I think I want to make another attempt at painting a little bit, maybe more of a more ethereal peony. And I think maybe a lighter, more delicate pink would have worked a little better than what I selected here. So as I was looking at this, my progress so far, I decided I wanted to add a few more leaves. I think the green and this kind of burgundy red that I have look really pretty together, so I wanted to kind of capitalize on that by adding a few more leaves to this little bouquet. So now that I finished the floral part, thank goodness, I finally just decided enough was enough. I decided to then move on to the vase. And I was thinking quite a while about the color that I wanted to choose. I wanted to choose something a little bit more light and airy, so I went with a kind of a teal. You might have noticed that I added a little bit of orange into my teal, and I did that because, blue and orange sit opposite on the color wheel. They're complementary colors, and you can add a bit of a colors, complementary color to it to bring down the tone a little bit. Like, so teal's really bright, so I put the orange in to take it down a notch. And I forgot to hit record when I painted the vase, but you'll see I left a little bit of white space there. There's a highlight, and I also mopped up some of the paint in the center of the vase just to give it a rounded appearance. So it kind of looks a little bit more 3D. And in this part, I've added some washi tape around the exterior of my painting, and I wanted to do a base, obviously, so this vase is sitting on a table. So you can see I painted sort of a nice gray. I didn't think that would detract too much from my painting, and then I have a little bit of shadow there. I painted a really, really light gray for the background, and there I am peeling off the tape, which is so satisfying. And here is my final product. I hope that you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you'll paint along with me. Please like and subscribe to see more content like this.